Today's video is a bit of an interesting topic, and I see a lot of misinformation about it sort of online around the community about like the Empower cap. Now, I think McCrow does better videos on this. I'll leave a link to him in the description, but we're going to exclusively talk about an Empower cap with Musket, which I think I have a better understanding of and demonstrating to you guys. So on New World Buddy, again, this isn't a fantastic site. It allows us to build gear sets, check out basically anything we need to in the game, all in one place, and this great feature even gives us detailed statistics of our build. So I'm going to leave this link in the description of this video as well, so you can actually check out my gear being updated in real time. So whenever I make a change will actually be updated on this as well. So this is another way of checking out my gear. I'm also going to continue updating the Google Doc, do not worry there. So anyways, the first thing I want to talk about is that Empower cap, both lightning harnessing and rune glass, elemental rune glass, do indeed count towards your Empower cap. So as you can see in these detailed stats here provided by building our gear set, thanks to New World Buddy, we can see that we have 34% lightning empower. This is from lightning damage on our ring, lightning damage on both our harnessing and our rune glasses. To that, we also have our honing stone. If you didn't know, that actually is in power, so that's 7%. This brings us to a total 34% in power. Ignore this here, this is actually the total down here, just a little bit of an if here. So we have a total 34% in power. We can see all the sources here if we hover over it. So 34% in power, that leaves us with 15.9% in power to mess around with and get from other sources. So on my gear, I've recently made some changes which I want to discuss. So I actually picked up a piece with empowering shooter stance on it. It's not the spin weave, it was just one that was a world drop. It does have these perks on it. So again, I put empowering shooter stance on. Now, I actually do not think this is worth it, again, because you're really only going to get use from 1.5 stacks, right? You hit 2 shots and you're basically empower capped. And that's like guaranteed in power effectively. That's the great thing about harnessing and rune glass and damage ring, by the way, is this is consistent, always active in power. You know it's always there. You don't have to meet any requirements, you have to do any procs. It is always there. It is a consistent damage increase to your build, and that is why I highly recommend harnessing as being your second priority in gear progression alongside Enchanted Ward and your weapon perks. I think that Enchanted Ward, harnessing should be your top priority, weapon perks and health to fill those last slots. I think that is kind of a must. Now for the ring, I'm also trying something different as Invigorated Punishments. Now this ring I did pick up for a hefty price on the trade post, but I do think this was worth it as well, because Invigorated Punishment is a 1% damage bonus, and let's say we had a target that probably has around 2. There's a 2% damage bonus. Now the nice thing about this is I also want to bring myself over to the skill trees here, because the other thing we actually get to note is that Musket has a total of 15% of empower on the tree itself. So I'm going to quickly just select them here. So we have the 10% empower from power shot, 10% empower from a headshot, and 5% empower from a debuff. The cool thing about how much empower we actually just have on our armor itself, including honing stone, is that 34% means we literally hit empower cap with these musketry passes, which means technically you can literally just get rid of any empower ability on your ring. So you can get rid of Invig Punishment. Mortal Empowerment is completely useless. I highly recommend not picking that up at all. What else is there? I also recommend staying away from empowering shooter stance, unless I'm going to cover a reason for that later why I'm actually trying it out. Again, I also think that if you have the empowering shooter stance or you have Invigorated Punishment, one of the two, they're going to both put you around to empower cap. If you use Invig without empowering shooter stance, it's going to put you to 45% empower, roughly. Again, there's a lot of sort of nerdy shit going on here, but if you use just empowering shooter stance, you're going to hit empower cap alongside your armor perks and honing stone without even needing to use anything on the musketry. This also raises another point that you might want to drop honing stone entirely. You might not even need to use honing stone if you don't want to. And that is another reason here, is that, again, you can actually drop these empower abilities off your musket tree and start picking up other things. So let's build a tree without empowers at all. Let's go powder burn. I think that is a must. Let's go power shots. We'll drop the empower. I don't think the 10% additional on full health is needed, personally, because power shot is generally used as a finisher. That is generally how most people use it. They use it on people that are sort of in that 60 to 70, 50% HP range to get that like last one tap, especially if you pull off a combo with the VG tether. Alright, so we're going to pick up the I like quick reload. Quickly reload, I actually do find myself rocking a lot. We definitely want chronic trauma. We will go with the shooter stance build. This is personally my preference. Again, you could drop shooters for stopping power, sticky, or you could even drop shooters for traps. Again, two essential abilities are power shot and powder burn. Those are basically always going to be there. You always want those abilities. They're too crucial to DPS. But again, this third perk is flexible. You can swap between shooters, traps, or sticky bomb. Traps being the least favorable, obviously, also the hardest to pull off a build with. Sticky bomb is kind of clunky right now because the range is sort of iffy. It's very, I guess, yeah, again, clunky, as I said before. Shooter stance, on the other hand, I personally love this, especially for clump pumping. It is a fantastic ability to go with. So again, let's see what else we can pick up. We want optimal range. We definitely want heightened precision. I also picked up Cool Shot here. I actually think this can be useful depending. If you feel like you really want to hit that sniper shot and you hold down, let's say, a power shot for 2 seconds, I actually do think this is a really worth it ability to go for. Now, as you can see, we actually, we'll pick that up. Okay, so now we have Sniper, or Ditto, sorry, now it's cool. I think that is the left tree sorted there. Now we still have 8 abilities to go with without picking in powers here. So we're probably going to go Salt on the Wounds. I think this is a pretty fantastic ability. Stacks really nice if using power shot as a finisher. Back it up, great for mobility. You definitely want that. Empowering Weakness, we're going to avoid. Weakened Defense, this is fantastic with all the increased armor in the game, especially a lot of people running featherweight with maxed out armor rating. I think that is a fantastic ability to pick up. Haste, you definitely want haste, you definitely want tactical reload, and you definitely want kick them when they're down. Now we still have 2 points to play around with here, so we could go, I don't think Energy Burst is that good. That's a personal preference thing. Let's see what else we can go with. We could go for some of the CDR perks on the tree here. The Cool Shot Resupply is quite a nice one that a lot of people do go for. The Marksman, this is also a very nice ability, and if you're shooting into a clump, you're going to get your abilities back pretty quick using shooter stance. So this is a musket tree using no empowers, because in theory, we don't need any of these empower passives on the musket tree. Now, there's an entirely different story to this. If we are not using Invigorated Punishment, if we are not using Empowering Shooter Stance, you could pick up just the musket empower abilities or musket passives on the musket tree and also be at empower cap. So there's, again, a few ways of actually getting to empower cap that you can like go with effectively. This is what I'm planning to do with my Invigorated Punishment on my ring and my Shooter Stance, because I think Empowering Shooter Stance is more consistent than trying to get a headshot from Empower. Trying to hit a target with Empower, 10% 5-second Empower on initial engagement with Power Shot is, again, very inconsistent in my eyes, and feels like it's a very situational, if you get what I mean. Well, Shooter Stance, I know that if I hit a target out of my 5 shots, I'm going to get that 10% Empower. That stacks up to 4 times. Again, only 2 of those and we're already in power cap. So again, pick your poison and the way you want to structure your empower cap. There is, again, more ways to look at this, is you could drop harnessing off your armor entirely, and you could pick up musket passives, or you could pick up Empowering Shooter Stance, or Mortal Empowerments over harnessing on your armor. But again, I highly recommend sticking to harnessing and Rune Glass Empower, because it is much more consistent, and you know that it's always there. It's always available, and it's always active, avoiding those sort of situational, prime-based empowers. This is more of an insight. I hope this sort of helped. I will go a bit more into depth here, but again, I'm going to link my exact build here on your buddy in the description so you can check it out and see exactly what I'm running. Probably, again, you don't need to go with both Empowering Shooter Stance or Invigorated Punishments, and also we talked about the musketry here. You don't need to run Invigorated Punishment or Empowering Shooter Stance, and you can just go with the musket passives that empower cap. It is entirely up to you. That sort of flexibility there. I really hope that this gave you a bit of an insight into how the empower cap works for muskets. And if you've got any questions, again, drop them in the description below, and we will check those out in the next video. I'll see you guys there.